Hey guys, what's up? Tekking here. I actually have to start off this video kind of seriously. I probably could have picked a different outfit for that if I want to be taken seriously, but let's just roll with it. I actually got a copyright strike on the last review of One Piece I did, chapter 915. It's been a long time since I've got a copyright strike on this channel. It's been like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years maybe? It's been a while. I already did all the counter notification stuff. I know how to do it all, so hopefully that gets resolved. But it kind of came at a really bad time, though, because I'm leaving to go on vacation today. So I have to get this video out before I leave, but all that stuff with the strike happens, so you know what, I'm just gonna play it safe and not gonna use any manga panels in this chapter, so you know, just bear with me here on this. If I had more time to work with, maybe I could come up with like a clever solution, but I really am kind of on a time crunch right now, so just no manga panels in this chapter, so just, you know, just deal with it, don't worry, because Law comes back, and that means that you get to listen to the wonderful serenations of Law Tekking in this review. Come on out, Law Tekking! I'm ready for this! Law Tekking's resurgence! Am I using that word correctly? Whatever. Resurgence! Yeah, man, you have fun with it. Just keep in mind you can't use manga panels and you'll be fine. Yeah, man, let's do... Really? You planned this, didn't you? No, I didn't plan this. Yes, I planned getting a copyright strike on my channel. Yes, I am true. This is part 6 of my master plan to take over the world. Just do it. I gotta go pack. Okay, fine, whatever. I'll make lemons out of lemonade with this. I'm Law Tekking. Let's do this. Alright, hey everybody, Law Tekking here, and welcome to One Piece, chapter 916 review titled Wano Country Sumo Wrestling. Hoya! Once again, I don't know much about sumo, but I'm going to be making a lot of ho noises, and I hope you follow along at home. Alright, so we actually don't get a continuation of the cover story, if there even is going to be more of the cover story of the Grand Fleet. We might just go back to the interim, you know, like Oda usually fills it with like fan requests until we pick up the next cover story. Personally, I'm hoping for the marvelous misadventures of Caesar Clown as he journeys across the new world and gets into a bunch of lovable hijinks. But this week, we actually have a color spread, so it's actually alright that I can't show it to you. All it is just the Straw Hats hanging out on a beach. I'm looking at it right here. Luffy's about to bash a watermelon, you know, Robin and everybody are having a barbecue. Zoro's doing epic noodle slurping. Chopper's playing with fireworks, and Nami is front and center in a bikini with her body just out there, just... Let me try to mimic her pose here. Maybe I can simulate the eroticism. In this picture, I'm wearing a bikini right now. Yeah, so, I really wish I could show it to you, I really do. It's one of those cover pages that's like, it's going in the Nami folder, you know what I mean? We all have Nami folders. Personally, I don't. My folder is filled with mostly spotted seals, but, anyway, he has a Nami folder. I saw it. It's pretty extensive. Oh, Nami. Oh, Nami. Do I even want to know what he's doing up there? I'm appreciating Nami's personality. Oh, okay. Appreciate personality. That's what we're calling boobs now? Okay. It's semen. Please, somebody, do you have a place I could crash for a little while? I'll sleep in your garage, really. I don't care. It's weird living with this guy. Okay, so continuing on from the last chapter, Okiku arrived and sliced off Urashima's top knot. Now remember, the top knot is something very valuable to sumo wrestlers. In fact, I actually read up on this, and some people helped me out, so thanks for that. But, you know, sumo wrestling, it is a sport, but it's also, like, very, like, it has, like, roots in religion as well, like a ceremonial kind of thing. So I read that if a sumo wrestler loses their top knot for, like, any reason, even if they, like, happen to just be going naturally bald, they can no longer do the sumo. So it's like a really important thing here. So I was wondering, like, okay, well, what's gonna happen, you know, after he gets his top knot lopped off? Is everybody in the surrounding area, are they all gonna, like, start booing him? Are they gonna, like, drag him out of the sumo ring? Like, you can no longer do this. You know, not only did he get his top knot cut off, he got it cut off by a woman, and also a woman that rejected this famous sumo wrestler's marriage proposal. So what goes down is, it turns out Urashima's kind of an asshole. Yeah, Yeah, you know, like, he's the kind of person, let me see if you've seen this trope before, you know, like, I love you, Kiku, you're great! You cut off my hair, you will die now, wench! So, yeah, immediately after getting the top knot cut off, by the way, Okiku lands, and doing that really badass flip in the air in the shing, she's just like, what did I just do? And in public, too! So I'm like, okay, so it's weird with her. She's got, like, she's got the initiative to do stuff. And, like, we're gonna go rescue Otama! And then she, like, you know, jumps into the fray and slices off Urashima's top knot and says that really cool thing last chapter, like, you know, I don't know any lower class that you speak of. And then immediately after, she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, what did I do? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my... So, Urashima, like, everyone around him says, like, oh man, it looks like he's a raging god now, because he understands the gravity of what she just did. Like, he's embarrassed. Like, to put this in perspective, imagine if, like, you're watching a professional sport, you know, that's taken with honor and dignity, and like baseball or, you know, football, basketball, any professional kind of sport, and then halfway through the sport, through the match or whatever, like, someone runs up onto the field and, like, pulls down one of the star athletes' pants, exposing their Johnson, you know, or, you know, like, their boxer briefs or something. It'd be like, okay, well, that's massively unprofessional. I wonder how he's gonna handle this, though. You know, is he gonna, like, run off the field in embarrassment, or is he gonna stick it through? Urashima stuck it through. He's just like, he immediately sees the situation, everyone's just kind of staring at him, shocked about it. They're just surprised about what just happened. Like, this woman rejected Urashima's marriage proposal and then just lopped off his top knot? Are you gonna take that, Urashima? That's what he's thinking in his head right now. So he immediately goes into, like, battle mode, and he's like, I need to reclaim the honor that you have disgraced me, you harlequin, you wench! And he, you know, gears up ready to go and use his Higen palm. And that's the palm that, like, the thrust attack that was shooting people all over town last chapter. You know, that one guy got slapped with that thing. His entire body was just, like, big, huge handprint and just got rocketed down the street. And Okiku's sitting there like, oh, well, he's in love with me, and he wouldn't hit a woman, would he? Oh, like the level of this is gone beyond anything. He is just in complete rage mode right now. So he's about to just strike Okiku with his pawn. That's when Luffy jumps in. I think most people figured that we were going to get a Luffy sumo match in this chapter. And Oda does not disappoint. In fact, I would be surprised if Oda's sitting there and he's like, yeah, I want to move on with stuff in Wano and everything, but come on, I gotta get Luffy in on the sumo action. Luffy really hasn't done much this arc so far. I mean, he had the moment where he, like, punched that snake and everything, and he kind of, like, cut a few people with Nidai Katetsu, but we need to get to see, like, a good, you know, fun moment with Luffy, you know, like, harkening back to, like, the Afro Luffy days of old, right? So, Luffy, seeing this, he's like, oh, I finally get my chance. So he uses Gomu Gomu no Thrust, and it seems like he uses Gear Third a little bit, but it doesn't expand his arm to the point where it's, like, giant-sized. It just makes it comparable, because Urashima's not a giant, but he's a big fat guy. He's big-boned. So, you know, his arm's a little bit more thick than normal. So, you know, he reaches out, and then Luffy does something similar where he expands his arm, and they just do this big thrust right in the middle of the arena, and that knocks them both back, and whoever falls out of the sumo arena loses. That's how sumo works. You're, you know, standing your ground and you're trying to thrust or, you know, knock your opponent out of the ring. So those two clash, and then they both spin back, and they get to the point where it's like the edge is right here, and they're like, whoa, whoa, and they're both like that, and this kind of revitalizes the crowd. You know, the crowd really gets into it. Like, it's like, yeah, you go! Now, immediately after seeing Luffy jump into the arena, though, they're just like, there's no way. This kid's, like, scrawny. Urashima is a big guy, and Luffy is a small guy, so therefore... I don't know why I'm making fun of that. If this was a real-world scenario, like a guy of Luffy's size, Luffy's what, like 5'6"? You know, Urashima's up there. He's like 9-10 feet tall, you know, and he's got at least like 500-600 pounds on Luffy. So it's like, yeah, in the real-world scenario. But this is the main character we're talking about here. All right, and Oda even throws in a neat little introduction to Luffy. He's like, Luffy no Umi, and he is the undefeated sumo champion. He's like a sumo turned pirate, and it's like undefeated champion versus Usopp. So it's implied that he's done this before with Usopp on the ship. You know, like they've been practicing their sumo, and if it's like Luffy and Usopp, then Luffy always won. Now, keep in mind, Usopp was a big guy when he was at the Bowen Archipelago. Luffy never really, you know, battled him when he was in that state, but I can imagine that Usopp, while he was that big guy, after he ate all the food in the bewitching forest on Greenstone, he practiced his sumo technique with Heracles, okay? And he's like, you know, Heraclesan. So, you know, he was practicing his sumo with him, and even after he slimmed down, got back to buff Usopp, you know, which also, I guess he had to go through some plastic surgery, because there's no way, he had a lot of excess skin after that. It was really disgusting. Don't worry, Heraclesan, though, he's skilled with this. He knows how to do it. But, yeah, he knew the skills to pay the bills, and so he was practicing sumo with Luffy after they reunited. But, so, Luffy still won, though. That's how good he is, right? So, Luffy takes off his kimono. He's actually, it seems a little bit more buff than usual. I don't know when the last time we saw Luffy without a shirt on, but he seems a little bit more buff than he used to be, kind of getting up there, the broad shoulders, you know, like, ooh, let's do this. So, Luffy's having a good time here. After last chapter, when Okiku did the flip and shing, you know, Luffy was like, yeah, okay, this is getting excited. I don't even know what's going on at this point. Wait, didn't we come here to find a girl? Yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. Sumo! Luffy's heart is in the right place, but, you know, there is a small girl being tortured somewhere in town, but it's okay. I'm sure they could find her before anything gets too bad. We actually cut back over to Holdem's place, and, you know, I was wondering what direction Oda was going to go with this, if he was actually going to show the torturing of Otama, or if it was going to be like one of those moments where they hold her down and they're right about to, like, you know, pinch her cheeks, but then that's when Luffy and the gang break in, like, we're come to save you, Tama! But no, they cut back, and Otama's not bleeding or anything, but she's got, like, Holdem's holding her up and just trying to rip off her freaking cheek with a pair of pliers, and it looks pretty bruised up and cut up, and it doesn't look like it's very, you know, it's painless. It looks like she's in a lot of pain right now. So, yeah, that's what's going on with Otama. But don't worry, everything kind of, well, I was going to say everything resolves itself by the end of the chapter. What else is going on? Let's cut over to see what I'm doing. Let's cut over to see Law. Okay, so as we all know, Law and, you know, Sachi and Penguin and Beppo, they were hanging out up on that mountain, kind of just like where the Kozuki Castle is. I'm pretty sure that's where they're at. And they were up there just kind of looking down, trying to see what was happening in the town, and they see the sumos going on, and they're like, yeah, it's sumo right now? I don't know what the hell he's doing, but they're getting into a sumo match. Meanwhile, Beppo went to the river and ate some fish, because, you know, he's a bear. That's actually something I can show you. A fan, when I made that joke a few chapters ago of Beppo, because he's a really, like, pacifist kind of character. He's really chill, really kind of a submissive sort of bear mink, but he's still a bear. So I made the joke that, like, you know, when he wakes up in the morning, he's like, hey guys, how you doing? I'm gonna have some fish. Okay, that was good fish. But no, turns out that he actually ate the fish from the Poison River. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. He ate the fish from the Poison River, so now Beppo has a little bit of a tummy ache, and he's sitting there and he's like, Captain, don't leave me! Captain, we need a doctor! I'm on it! Give me 10 cc's of honey. We gotta fix this bear up. But no, I don't think Beppo would really be in mortal danger. I mean, Zoro was able, like Otama got sick because she's like an 8-year-old girl and she's just ingesting this water constantly. She's not even eating anything else. But Zoro was going around eating the food and it was like, yeah, my stomach hurts a little bit, but I'm fine. Like, I don't think Beppo is so weak that eating some fish from the river is going to take him out, you know what I mean? He's a tougher bear, but then again, he is kind of like a little bit childish at times, so he'd be like, Captain, oh, I'm dying. It hurts so bad, I got a tummy ache. You know, so Law's yelling at him, like, what are you doing eating that fish? I told you. I'm like, but I'm a bear, Captain. I see the salmon just struggling to get up the stream. Beppo, shut up. I'm like, okay, fine. But anyway, that's what's going on with them. Let's move back to the sumo arena though, and see what's going on with Luffy and Urashima. So Urashima starts busting out his secret ultimate sumo moves. Huh. So he does Boda Shavata Palm, which is like a multiple arm thing. Kind of reminds me of Isaac Netaro's 100-armed Gyanin Boda Shavat thing from Hunter x Hunter. Which, by the way, I was just watching that the other day. Like every now and then, whenever I'll tell you a little story about me. Whenever I'm in my house and there's like a fly or an ant or something like an insect walking around, and I'm trying to capture it, I always replay that scene in my head, that same music when Netaro's fighting Miruim, it's so epic, because at the end of the day, he was breaking out this giant Buddhist thing with like 100 arms to try to crush an ant and doing like the palm thing, so that's cool. But Urashima's doing that, like Boda Shavat Palm, like multiple palms, like a Gatling, except just a palm form of it. And Luffy, he has fine-tuned observation at this point, plus his fight with Katakuri helped him out there. So Luffy's literally just doing this. He's dodging, but he's dodging it with like a smug look on his face. He's just like, he's dodging all of these palms. So that's when, he breaks out the ear crusher and the eye gouger, which, like, even before, like, Luffy said it, I'm like, that doesn't sound like it's legal. And Luffy's like, nah, isn't that an illegal move? Now, I don't really think Urashima's logic is that great right now because he's kind of peeved off. So he's like, I have to reclaim my honor. And if that means using a dishonorable move against an opponent that really has nothing to do with how I lost my top knot, then by sweet Molly Brown, I'm gonna do it. Eye gouger! So it doesn't matter anyway, because Luffy just dodges all of them, even if he wants to use, like, cheap tricks, try to poke Luffy in the eyes or kick him below the crotch. Actually, I'm getting a funny scene in my head of him doing that. I'm getting a funny scene of Urashima, like, screw it, I'm just gonna punch you. And he goes to dodge it, and it hits Luffy's, family jewels, but they're made of rubber, so they literally just... Gomu Gomu no ball thrust! Oh! That should have been the way you should have done it, Oda. Maybe a little bit too seinen, maybe a little bit too adult for that. But yeah. Does anyone ever read a manga called My Balls? It's about a guy who gets a demon trapped in his... Yeah, I read a lot of weird things over the years. Anyway, Luffy, after noticing all of these really, illegal moves and all this really cool stuff he can do, he just decides to do, like, the thing that's gonna take him out, So he stretches his arm all the way back, all the way through town. Everybody's kind of staring at it like, what is this strange thing? And Luffy's just like, Gear third! Doesn't even have to use hockey. It's not even worth it. Gear third, Gomu Gomu no Giganta thrust! Bam! And he's knocks freaking Urashima back, and not even back out of the arena. He rockets that dude straight through town. And keep in mind, Urashima's a big guy, so it's like a cannonball getting shot right through town. It's knocking over shops, lanterns are falling down, things are getting set on fire, and it breaks right through Holdem's compound. And the whole thing comes crumbling down, and everyone's like, who are these people? Who is the rubbery kid? And the girl that cut off the top knot? Oh, there's Zoro. Somebody recognizes Zoro. Like, that's Zoro Jiro. He killed the magistrate. Zoro's reaction to that is just basically like, yeah, got a problem with that. I love that, because which one was, because he was framed for a murder that he didn't actually commit. But then during the seppuku ceremony, he actually did, I think, kill someone. So, like, either way, I think he's, tried here. He actually did commit a murder at some point. But it doesn't matter either way, because they're like, that's Zoro Jiro! He's the escaped murderer! We'd have to stop him! And Zoro's just like, yeah? What's it to you? So everyone's looking at these guys. There's a really cool full-page spread of Zoro just kind of chilling out. Okiku's looking pretty sweet. And then Luffy's at the top of them, all of them, like standing on top of the arena, just like, yeah, we're awesome. And everyone's just kind of standing in awe of them. So at this point, some people begin to rush the crew, trying to capture them. They all do really cool stuff, try to evade. Okiku does the slashing stuff. She's like, should I cut them? Is it okay? And it's just like, if you don't want to get captured again, I'm not going to save you, woman. This is Zoro talking. Zoro's like, I'm not gonna save you, so cut him up. Luffy takes out Nidai again, and I'm like, get that thing away from me. So they all take out a bunch of their of Holdem's minions, and Luffy grabs one, and he's like, who's your boss's name? And he's like half conscious, like, Balding. He's like, come out here, Balding! Bring it on! And at this point, Holdem finally shows himself. He walks out in front of a, on top of a building, and he's just like, oi! up here, kid. And he looks up and he's just like, are you the boss? I'm like, yeah. Are you balding? I'm like, my name's Holdem. He's like, I see you finally came out. And he's just like, yeah, because you wrecked my house. You sent a 900-pound morbidly obese guy rocketing through my kitchen and my breakfast nook, you dick. So he's like, of course I came out. Now, Otama is, remember how Holdem has that, you know, lion as his stomach, which some people have actually theorized that's the reason Otama, that's why he wanted her ability to take out the Dongo, feed it to the lion head, and then the lion head would actually obey him. That's, some people think that's the reason, because the lions seem to be, like, not cooperating. But in this scenario, it actually does seem to be listening to him. Otama is in the mouth of the lion, being held by the lion's teeth. And it doesn't seem like she's, like, in pain. It doesn't seem like the lion's not chomping down on her, but she's in a very dangerous position there. And Holdem's like, yeah, I figure you want this girl, but, you know, just let you know, if you try to attack me, if you come at me, I'm gonna crush her with my lion head. That's also my stomach. Bring it on. At this time, Hawkins finally arrives in the town at the front gates, and he's on a Den Den Mushi. By the way, I forgot to mention this last chapter, but they do in fact have Den Den Mushis in Wano, so that's just how it goes there. I mean, some islands they go to have them and some don't. It's just how it is. But they have Den Den Mushi, so they're communicating through that. And they're like, Hawkins is warning all of the low-level members, like, he's like, don't attack them. They're out of your league. Don't even bother. But they didn't get the message. They still got knocked out by Luffy and Kiku and Zoro. So the end of the chapter is like a four-way. Giggity. A four-way where you have Luffy staring down Holdem, Holdem's on top of the building, Otama's in his stomach, lion thing, Hawkins is just arriving at the town, wonder what he's gonna do, and then Law is off to the side, still in the mountain, and Beppo is talking in the background like, Captain, please don't leave me! But Law's looking down, and they're all looking like there's a fire, and now, oh man, Holdem's showing up, and Law's just like gritting his teeth, is like, what do I do? So, right, so that's the end of the chapter right there with the four-way, giggity. So, yeah, now, I believe there's a break next week, which is actually a blessing in disguise for me. I don't know about you, but, I'm still gonna be, like next Friday is when we're flying back, so, like, if there was a chapter next week, I wouldn't have been able to do it on the day of anyway, so that'll give me some more time to think of what I'm gonna do on that end. But, as for this chapter, a lot of action. I think it was really just Oda, like, once again, like, you know what, I need to have a sumo match in Wano. We'll get to the main event, but I needed a few chapters to build up the sumo, because maybe he's always had a dream of, like, I need to draw Luffy just doing the Giganta, like, Gear 3rd Giganta thrust, and just, you know, barreling a giant sumo wrestler down the street. Like, I had that picture in my head for a while there. Aside from that, like, Luffy has no trouble taking out Urashima. Some people were saying, like, oh, he's one of Holdem's, like, top men. Holdem even comes out and says, you know, he was an idiot, he was just an underling, you know. Some people were saying, oh, he was gonna fight against Frankie, or he was the one that was gonna fight against Chopper in his monster point. Maybe he might come back at some point, who knows, but I don't really care for him, and once again, he's already been disgraced by losing his top knot, so I could actually see that. I could see him, like, regaining consciousness and being like, oh man, what happened? Whatever, that stupid kid. Hey you, go get me some food. And they would just kind of look at him like, dude, you lost. It's like, what? I didn't lose. I'm like, yeah, you lost. That rubber kid knocked you clear across town. And that woman cut off your ponytail. I'm not doing, oh, well, top knot, sorry, not a ponytail. That's kind of disrespectful. He's like, yeah, that girl cut off your top knot. And just like, what? I'm like, I'm not doing anything for you anymore. You're not even welcome at my shop anymore. Later, loser. So I could see Urashima now living in, like, poverty. You know, he has to actually, maybe he gets kicked out. Maybe he gets kicked out and he has forced to live in Leftover Town. And he bears a grudge against Luffy, so he might come back later in the arc or something. It might even be something like in Eni's Lobby, where they had, like, Kaku and Khalifa introduced without devil fruits, but then they gave them devil fruits later. And once again, this is Kaido we're talking about, the artificial zone master. So I could definitely see Urashima getting so peeved off, and then he goes up to Holdem or Hawkins or even Kaido or one of the Calamities. He's like, I'm tired of this. I want a devil fruit right now. I was kind of, you know, on the cuff of it at first, but I needed to defeat that stupid kid with a devil fruit power, because people think like, oh, if I have a devil fruit power, I'll definitely be able to take on Luffy. No, you won't, but at least you'll have a slightly better chance. So maybe Urashima's going to eat a devil fruit that's going to be provided by Kaido, an artificial smiley, and maybe a smile. I don't know why I called it Smiley. Smiley is the name of the pet on a Punk Hazard that's been destroyed at this point. But Smile Devil Fruit. What animal would it be? I don't know. It would be funny if it was like something like, it was like the butterfly zone or something. Like he grows really tiny butterfly wings on his back and he's like, and he can't even fly with them or something lame like that. That would be kind of funny. But, you know, or if he never shows up again in the arc, like I said, he wasn't really that, you know, impressive to me. So if he shows up, great. But if not, it's not going to be much of a loss here. Now, as for the four-way, I think this is going to be the point where the Straw Hats are reunited. I think there's going to be this huge scuffle in town. First, it's going to be between Luffy and Holdem. That's the one that they're going to first to exchange a few blows with that, trying to save Otama. And then I think Hawkins is going to show up. Then Law might show up to intercept Hawkins. So they might have a fight. And I think they're going to cause a ridiculous amount of commotion. I have no idea where Sanji or Nami or Chopper or Brook or Carrot ended up, because we haven't seen them since they arrived at Wano. I have no idea where they ended up, but I think this would be a good point for them to finally arrive. Maybe they were thrown away out in the woods, and it took them a while to, you know, to meet each other, and they finally regrouped. But now they have no idea where Luffy or anybody else is. But then they see this big commotion going on in town, this big fire erupting. They're like, yeah, they're probably over there. Let's go in that general direction. So this might be the point where they finally meet up. And I think after this whole exchange, I think Luffy's going to defeat Holdem. That's what I think. I think Luffy's going to have a really epic battle with Holdem, but he's going to end up rescuing Tama and defeating Holdem. And then that's going to be, like Hawkins is going to retreat at that point and go back and tell Kaido all of this. And that's the moment where they're going to, like, maybe not the same thing with Big Mom, like with Cracker, where the enraged army shows up. Maybe Kaido's going to do it a little bit more of a sneaky kind of like assassination way. Because Kaido, he's got samurai. He's got, like, ninjas under his employ. Alright, he doesn't have to do the same thing like when Luffy defeated Cracker and then Big Mom sent the enraged army after him. He doesn't even need to do that. He could be like, oh, Straw Hat Luffy's in my territory. Oh, he took out one of my headliners, did he? Okay. Send the ninja squad, you know, when they're asleep, you know, to sneak in and just, you know, shing. So they might be something like that, or send the samurai after them. He might only like elite soldiers, not like a whole bunch of people, just elite soldiers. So that might be something too. But anyway, it's nice to see Law back. I hope he makes an appearance in the next chapter as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. He made some videos for you guys while he's away on vacation, so don't worry about that. There'll be regular content throughout the week. So look forward to that stuff. Thanks for watching. This will be Law Tekking signing out. Oh, Nami. Oh, Nami.